Well, with an amazing trailer like that, what better way to celebrate it than to crack out some of the good stuff? That's right, Japan's best orange juice they can offer. Because I'm going to need all the vitamin C I can get after analyzing all this. And let's jump in to another episode of Jurassic World! Well, guys, I don't know about you, but that was probably one of the best trailers I think we've had in the Jurassic franchise in a long time. I can't even remember the last time I watched something and it was that hype. However, it did seem to spoil pretty much everything. But in today's Jurassic News video, we're going to go over all of the trailer breakdown, as well as tying up some other things I missed in our last analysis, and maybe even guessing to pretty much the whole plot. We did it with Fallen Kingdom and the Indoraptor. Can we do it with Rebirth and this one? Let's find out. So, first off, we have all the dinosaurs so far revealed, that being Dilophosaur, Tyrannosaurus Rex, Spinosaurus, Raptor, Mosasaur, Quetzalcoatlus, and Titanosaur. Now, the dinosaurs at the bottom, being Mosasaur, Quetzalcoatlus, and Titanosaurus, are the ones that, the main mission. They go to this island because they need to get their DNA in order to make a cure for human heart disease. Is that so? Well, we'll find out. And the other ones that were revealed in the trailer that we didn't know about before were Dilophosaur and the Raptor. Now, Dilophosaur, as you can see, there's a slightly hidden away just down there. Looks like the same Dilophosaur design as was in Rebirth, and I think that's the only design that's come back, because every other dinosaur, maybe barring the T-Rex, has a completely different design. So let's look at these beauties, starting with our first DNA dinosaur, that being the Quetzalcoatl, the biggest flying pterosaur that ever existed, except for Hertzogopteryx. But, in the Jurassic universe, we got some really cool images of them taking the DNA from the egg, but then also the mama coming home and almost making, was it Bailey? Dr. Lumens throwing him off the edge, but, plot armor saved him. That being Scarlett Johansson. We also I put in the merch logo that was on the bed sheet, and if you look closely, it has power, size, and speed, and I think out of all of them, the Quetzalcoatl is the weakest. We pretty much have everything that happens with this creature, or at least this scene. They go in, they get the DNA from the egg, but no, it goes wrong because the mum comes back, and then the mum flies away, maybe get tased or get shot or something, and then Bailey gets held by Scarlett. Is it Zora her name is, or something like that? But Scarlett Johansson managed to save him on a rope. On to our next dinosaur, we have the Titanosaurus, and this was, of course, it was quite obvious to really discover what this one, the scene was. It was them looking at the Titanosaurus. Again, the image there, it's related images, and we know how this one also has its DNA collected. I'm assuming because it's a giant sauropod, you can pretty much just walk up to it and go, stab it, get the DNA, and then walk away, and you're going to be pretty much okay, because it probably won't even see you when you're hiding in the grass down there. But just the sheer scale of this thing with its whipped tail and the design of it, very close with the leaks. The leaks was incredibly close, especially the concept design with this guy. So, well, congrats with that. And our final one, which is the DNA, is the Mosasaur. Now, we only had that one tiny little image of the Mosasaur with the Spinosaurs, and this seems to be some sort of pack behavior, some symbiotic relationship in a way. I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but basically the Spinosaurs go in to attack the thing and the Mosasaur cleans up. It works smarter, not harder. If it doesn't have to attack the thing, why risk being hurt? And let the Spinosaurs do the grunt work, as it were. Very smart Mosasaur, this one. Again, we have this one with the merge, and we know exactly how this one gets its DNA collected. Again, it's the same gun that we see Scarlett Johansson's character holding as well. And what's interesting actually about this is that you see it come up the side of the boat, breach, a bit like a whale would do, and then I'm assuming maybe slam into the side of the boat, and that's probably the end of the boat. Maybe that's how they get capsized. Maybe not, because I think right after the shot we get the scene of Scarlett Johansson with the gun, and I think that's where we get the dart. And maybe once the DNA is extracted, just like a trachea, with sharks, it'll plop off and rise to the surface, and maybe that's how they'll get the DNA with that one. But that's not all the dinosaurs we got to talk about. No. T-Rex! Yes, we now got an actual action-packed scene from the trailer showing the David Koepp novel scene that he brought back from Jurassic Park, the one that they wanted to bring into the movie Jurassic Park but didn't have the room or the space to do so. But it's here, sort of, although there's no real scene of it happening. I think this ties into the Dilophosaur scene because we see the little girl character, with the Dilophosaur that's screeching at it. But then it seems very similar because we have her just slightly to the left of this T-Rex, and it seems to be the same shot. So the Dilophosaur screeches at it, and then she's like, oh, not scared of it. Maybe the T-Rex comes out and she's like, oh god, I'm scared of that. And then we have the whole chase down the river scene and tail. I don't know how I feel about this one, guys. I mean, when I saw the Spinosaurus swimming from far away, brilliant. Loved it. We got some really cool shots of it too. And then we got closer. And I could see what people were talking about with its big, thick neck. Everyone was like, oh no, the leaks weren't true. But now I'm looking at it and I can, that's a thick boy. That's a thick neck. But what's more disheartening about it is that it's basically a baryonyx with a sail. If you look at that head, it's the same as the Fallen Kingdom one. You know, Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaur, such a iconic silhouette and look to it. And these Spinosaurs, maybe it's because they're not going to be in the movie that long, but I don't know. They just feel like if I had an AI and I went, here's baryonyx, make a Spinosaur version, and it would go, it would make that, basically. So, bit of a shame. But, I don't know, we got Spinosaur, and it got a cool scene. And just be glad that it's not the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaur and it gets butchered. You know, if that sold seats, if that put butts in the seats of cinemas, they would have done it. So, luckily they didn't. And then we have, surprise, not shown yet. We've seen pretty much everything this game has to offer. This movie has to offer. Just wait, the games are coming next. Oh, we'll get trailers for them soon. Ooh, but first, focus, James, let's focus here. The Velociraptors. You can see one in the lab, and it actually has two heads. I didn't notice that when I first watched it, but there's like a growth to the side of it, and I think that's a head. It could be a light. I don't know how you make that mistake, and we'll get into that later, because I think there's a reason why this thing has two heads. But yes, raptor not shown just yet, so you know, maybe the raptor's the big thing, you know? Maybe we think it's going to be this mutant dinosaur. No, it's the raptors. That's why they're not showing it just yet. And then these are the things that I missed last time. The skeletons in the closet. Anyway, this is Dr. Loomis's museum that's being closed down because apparently now dinosaurs are boring. We're taking the same thing from Jurassic World where woo-ha, dinosaurs enough, you know, and Claire's like, people aren't excited about dinosaurs. We need hybrids. We need the Samsung Presents Indominus Rex. For some odd reason, apparently people are bored of dinosaurs, even though they're dying out and going extinct everywhere. I don't know where Hollywood thinks that people would get bored of dinosaurs. Are you kidding me? Why do we have zoos? It's an elephant, you know. Is everyone just gonna go, oh, it's an elephant, I've seen it before? No! Anyway, but what's the takeout of this scene? Thank you to, I think it's Mr. Goji here, who compiled this little image showcasing the T-Rex roaring, and then, hinting towards this being Rexy. I don't know. It could very well be. Would I be annoyed if it turned out that this was Rexy? Not really, because do I need a sad Rexy death scene? She's cheated death enough. I think at this point, if she dies on the screen, there's something wrong. If she dies, she needs to die off screen now. It's just like plenty of times where she could have died, yet she comes back. So the fact that they had to kill her off screen kind of makes sense. Now, the novel scene, yes, this is basically being confirmed and is in the trailer now, that it's the T-Rex. And again, you can see on the right here, the rebirth version of it. It's one of the people who were washed up. I think this is the mother, actually, because I think there's the parents and then two children, possibly, I think. But even if you just look at the synopsis, which I put down there again, when Azora's operation interacts with a civilian family whose boating expedition was capsized by marauding aquatic dinosaurs, we know what those are now, and they are dinos because they were Spinosaurs, they find themselves stranded on an island. So anyway, this is very interesting. I had to repeat this a couple of times. This is where Zora, Bryce Dallas Howard. Scarlett Johansson's character says, we're the best at moving people and things to places they shouldn't be. And I just scratch my chin here and think, haven't we heard this before? Someone who's to do with smugglers, kind of like a little bit of a badass character, you know. Kayla Watts from Dominion? No? Anyone? I don't know. It could have been very easily that this character would have been Kayla Watts. I mean, she might have wanted to fly over because she's a pilot rather than, going with these mercenaries. But she's in the ring. We saw in Dominion, she's in the smuggler thing. But I just think that Dominion got so much backlash that if there was a draft of this script that had this character, they've just scrapped every character from Dominion. I don't think we're going to see Chris Pratt again and Bryce Dallas Howard, any of the new characters. So I just thought it was interesting that I saw the similarities there. I wonder if anyone else put 2 and 2 together. And the other thing I missed out on was that Dr. Loomis has a connection to Alan Grant. Now, we don't know whether that's just because he owns the T-Rex skeleton, like Rexy's skeleton, and he thought, this is the Rexy that, or the T-Rex that Alan Grant ran away from. Or whether or not he's a relative, bought the skeleton because, he's like getting revenge, like, there you go, I've got the skeleton. Or, even if we trace the roots further back into Jurassic Park, is he the kid that Alan Grant terrified when he cut you right there, spilling your intestines? Now, I did the math here. If he was about 15, he could have been a little bit older in Jurassic Park. By the time, it's Rebirth, he would be 47. Does he look like a 47-year-old? I mean, he's doing very good. He's a 47-year-old guy. He looks amazing. What kind of serum he's using? But I don't think so. I just thought I saw this floating around there, and I thought it would just be a funny thing to speculate on. And let's get into the lab. So we've heard that this is the first lab. This could be Site A. Lost World was on Site B, Isla Sorna, and Jurassic Park 3 was on Site B, Isla Sorna. Site A, we thought was Isla Nublar, but this seems to be possibly the first instances of dinosaurs being created by InGen. So if we're on Site A, the new island, this could be the first lab, and I think it's even said in the Vanity Fair article that this is the first lab. Now, I don't know about you, but if you just take a look at that and that, this down here, you've got all these new snazzy colors going on that, I don't know, don't scream 1990s tech to me. And just out of curiosity, this is the one from Jurassic Park 3, the Isla Sorna lab. This one looks run down. Looks like it hasn't been touched in ages. However, if we look at this lab, you're talking about embryos encased in, maybe some embryonic fluid or something, but they look very fresh. Look at this raptor. Does it look like if it's in some sort of stasis? If they have that technology in the 90s, which I don't think they do, it would be bloated, right? Like the ones in Jurassic Park 3. You saw those raptors, they were bloated and stuff, and their spines were sticking out. This looks recent, or if it's not recent, then this is one heck of a new facility. Like, they look so swish and swanky, something we might have seen from Biosyn. Do you remember? Like that lab? That had nice white sort of doors, very clinical looking. And this seems very familiar. I don't know about you. It doesn't seem old to me. And if you look again at the raptor, when you're cloning something, you don't just accidentally make 2 heads. That doesn't happen. So the fact that this thing has 2 heads hints towards there being something nefarious going on. And again, in the synopsis about this whole movie that has been posted by Universal themselves, they said that the team uncovers something sinister. And I think this is hinting towards that sinister plot. So first off, let's look at the movie. We've done the timeline. The main plot. The main plot is go island, get DNA, make cure. Hey, jobs are good and you're great. That's 70% of the movie, I think. I think there's going to be something else that happens. You get the island, you do all that. I think we've got something to uncover here. So, Dinosaur Designs. This is what Gareth Edwards, the director of the movie Jurassic World Rebirth, had to say about the designs. When you make a creature, you get a big, massive pot, and you pour in your favorite monsters from other films and books. These are the dinosaurs that didn't work on the island. There's some mutations in there. They're all based on real dinosaur research, but they look a little bit different. And then the one I've highlighted in the middle, this is when he was talking about something in particular. Some Rancor went in there. That's a bit odd. Some HR Giga went in there. And a little T-Rex went in there. What could all these things put together create, do you think? Well, if you're thinking Scorpius Rex, Indoraptor, Indominus Rex, you're on the right track. But basically, this was the D-Rex. And from other leaks, it was described to have a poorly cloned unknown species abandoned on the new island, and also a danger for life on the island to have 4 arms. And these were concepts. At the top, I think we have W-Rex, who made those beautiful 3D renders, and at the bottom we have Manu Peliot, who made, something very similar. You've got the extra arms. Basically, the big thing is it keeps its T-Rex head. But because the trailer came out, we actually know exactly what the T-Rex looks like. And yeah, it looks very interesting. What the hell is that? What? It is Titanic. I mean, if you see the trailer, its fist here that walks on its knuckles, as you can see at the right image there, a person's the size of that. So we are talking about something that would eat, I don't know, the T-Rex for breakfast. If it's got all these extra limbs, and in the middle image you can see it's actually got an extra pair of limbs, and these seem to be the T-Rex claws, because it's only got 2 fingers in the middle. So that's obviously where the little bit of T-Rex came in there. And I think that he deliberately said a little bit because he was talking about its arms. But also, it seems to be attracted to flares. Now, to me, it looks like it's a bat, maybe echolocations, or it doesn't have very good eyesight. And I think it doesn't have very good eyesight, because if you squint your eyes, you're not going to see much. But a bright light, you might see a bright light. So that's why we have a flare. That's why it's attracted to it. And that's also why in the middle shot, we have a guy with his back turned to it. And obviously it walks very slowly towards him and then eats him, because it can't really see him too well. And I mean, look at it. Everything's red. How can it see what something that's red is when everything's red? But this also gets onto the twist, I think. The double agent. And the whole premise behind this, basically, if you've ever seen the movie Alien, you're watching Alien Jurassic Park version, I feel. So you have this, my theory, it's just a theory. Yes, just a theory. But we're right about Fallen Kingdom, so maybe we're right about this. Anyway, the traitor there, who's going all along, you know, he has to get the whole team here. It's a bit like in Fallen Kingdom, we had a bit of a treachery there with, I can't remember what his name was, who took the dinosaur's teeth. But this guy needs a team to go to the island with, you know, mercenaries and all that jazz. But the real reason he's there isn't to make a cure, because why would you want to do that? There's not money in curing people. There's money in this abomination. And I think possibly at some point his team had to evacuate the island, and he needs to get back there. But he needs to go undercover. He needs to secretly extract all this DNA. So I think that him there is the same person who's looking at the other guy, probably a mercenary, or it could even be a flashback. I don't think it'll be a flashback. I think it's probably the containment area where the lab is, where it's kept this thing in. And also they have the same doors. If you look at the Raptor and you look at the D-Rex, they're pretty much the same design. So this lab houses this dinosaur. It houses the D-Rex, and it has the clones. Everything went down here. And it's a possibility that this thing has never been released. Because I thought to myself, if this thing's huge, why hasn't it killed the rest of the island? Why is there still raptors, dilophosaurs, titanosaurs that are so slow? You saw Indominus Rex, it killed those apatosaurs. Why are titanosaurs just walking around? And it's huge. Maybe it's stuck in a facility, you know, in there. Who knows? But I think that's the 30% of the plot. And then if we take a look at the timeline, there's nothing really much to add. I'm not going to, because we just clog it up. Basically, I think we've got it at the moment. We've got the docks at the end where, you know, we have the final confrontation with the D-Rex, maybe the traitor reveal sort of line, no one else knows. And then because Scarlett Johansson's best friend, the mercenary guy, dies, she's, you know, ramps her up to get revenge and kill the, I don't know, all this jazz. And the traitor will die to the D-Rex, I'm sure. That's how it always goes. They always get killed by their own hubris. That's why Dodge and died the Dilophosaurs and all that jazz. But, what I wanted to mention is that also the director of Jurassic World Rebirth made a movie called Monsters, and it bears a stunning resemblance to Jurassic World Rebirth. It has a scary monster in it, just like the T-Rex, a journey into the unknown, the island, and dangerous things, dinosaurs, and Aztec ruins even. I haven't watched this movie, but it's definitely one to put on the list. And there you have it. Everything I think I've covered. We could be here for ages talking about all the little nuances and little things here and there, but I think the major chunks we've covered. Whew, I haven't slept. I've had a house next door to me being demolished, so when I have been able to nap, I can't because it feels like there's a bloody earthquake going because I live in Japan, and, you know, that might actually be a thing, and you've got to be worried about those. So I can finally go to sleep, but thank you everybody who has liked, commented, and supported so far in Jurassic World Rebirth news. Of course, if anything new comes up, we will cover it. This is what we've done ever since 2015 with Jurassic World. You know, covering those sorts of things. Back then it was a lot smaller. But now we're huge. Now we've got everything. And anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, you're hyped. What was your favorite bit about the trailer? Huh? Was it the Spinosaurs? Did you like those designs? Was it the D-Rex? Do you like a xenomorph looking design with a rancor? Let me know down below. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Cheers. Oh, that's good.